Have you ever wondered why something as beautiful as marriage can also feel like one of the hardest battles of your life? We grow up with stories of romance, with images of perfect love, and with promises that once we find the right person, everything will finally fall into place. Yet when reality arrives, the picture often looks very different. What was once effortless becomes heavy. What was once exciting becomes routine. And in those moments, many silently ask themselves, if love is real, why does it feel so hard? That is the question so many couples hide, the truth they rarely speak aloud, because admitting the struggle feels like admitting failure. But the truth is not failure, it is reality, and facing it is the first step toward real strength. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, the first shocking secret you must know is that love alone is never enough to sustain a marriage. Yes, love is powerful, but without consistent effort, it begins to fade under the weight of unmet expectations and unspoken frustrations. Research on relationships shows that passion naturally declines if it is not actively nurtured. That decline is not proof that love has died. It is proof that growth must happen. When you understand this, you stop asking why it feels hard and start asking how you can build resilience. Struggle is not the end of love. It is the soil where deeper intimacy can grow if you are willing to face the challenge together. Conflict is not the enemy. Indifference is. Every argument, every misunderstanding, every silent night is an opportunity to choose growth instead of escape. Yet many people are too ashamed to admit how hard it really is. They smile in public while breaking in private, pretending that everything is fine while resentment quietly builds. But marriage is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to be real. The beauty of true intimacy is found not in flawless harmony, but in the courage to stand unmasked before each other, vulnerable and raw. Here is the hardest truth. Marriage will expose you. It will show you your weaknesses, your insecurities, and your hidden fears. And that exposure is not cruelty. It is a gift. Because only when you see yourself clearly can you grow into someone stronger. The question is not whether love can survive without effort. It cannot. The question is whether you are willing to embrace the work, to fight for your bond, to build something unshakable through storms and struggle. Stay with me because what you are about to discover could change the way you see your relationship forever. If marriage feels heavy, it is because it was never designed to be easy. It was designed to refine you, to push you, and to stretch you into someone capable of carrying love with both hands. And when you learn to carry it, you unlock the secret power of love that no struggle can ever break. If you feel like the struggles in your marriage are heavier than you expected, understand this truth. The battles you face today are not only about what is happening between you and your partner, they're also about the parts of yourself that you have carried for years, often without realizing it. Every wound from your past, every disappointment, every unhealed scar has a way of rising to the surface in the closest relationship of your life. Marriage does not erase pain, it magnifies what was already there. That is why arguments often feel bigger than the issue at hand. It is never just about the late text, the undone chores, or the forgotten promises. Beneath those moments lies a deeper ache, the voice inside whispering that you are unseen, unheard, or unloved. Many people enter marriage with the hope that love will heal the old wounds they have carried alone. They believe a partner's devotion can fill the empty spaces left by years of neglect or rejection. But no matter how much love is given, it cannot erase the past if the past is never confronted. This is the hidden weight couples rarely admit. They argue not because they are enemies, but because their unspoken pain demands attention. Marriage forces those buried emotions to the surface, and while that feels painful, it is also an opportunity for transformation. The truth that many avoid is that growth only happens when both people stop pointing fingers and start looking inward. Every relationship struggle is an invitation to self-discovery. Instead of asking, why are they like this? The more powerful question is, what does this reveal about me? That shift in perspective transforms blame into responsibility and resentment into understanding. Marriage becomes the mirror that shows you who you truly are. And while the reflection is sometimes uncomfortable, it is also the pathway to becoming the stronger version of yourself. Couples who endure the hardest seasons are not the ones who never fight or never feel pain. They are the ones who choose to face it together, not as opponents, but as allies. They see the weight, they feel the heaviness, but instead of turning away, they share the load. This is the essence of endurance. Love is not proven when it is easy. Love is proven when it is tested. And every test is an opportunity to strengthen the bond rather than break it. What makes marriage truly powerful is not the absence of struggle, but the decision to confront struggle with courage, humility, and honesty. When you choose to stop hiding, when you dare to speak your truth even when it is messy, you open the door to real connection. The raw, unpolished honesty that emerges in those moments is where trust deepens and intimacy is reborn. Marriage is hard because it demands that level of courage, but in that difficulty lies the chance to create a love that nothing can destroy. When two people share a life, the spark that once felt effortless does not stay alive on its own. Desire, passion, and intimacy cannot survive on autopilot. They demand intention, energy, and deliberate effort. This is a noth, ear truth. Most couples never admit attraction fades when it is taken for granted. The excitement that once came from discovery now requires creativity. The thrill that once came from novelty now requires choice. If you assume passion will last forever simply because love exists, you set yourself up for disappointment. Love may remain, but without fuel, the fire grows dim. Many relationships lose their flame, not because the love is gone, but because the effort is. Couples mistake comfort for closeness and presence for connection. They share a home but not a heart. They talk but do not listen. They touch but do not feel. Slowly, what was once vibrant becomes dull. The danger is not always dramatic betrayal or explosive fights. It is the quiet erosion of intimacy through neglect. Passion does not die in a single moment. It dies in the days where effort is withheld and attention is diverted elsewhere. Desire thrives on presence, on being fully alive to each other. It grows when you choose to see your partner not as familiar, but as someone worth rediscovering again and again. Curiosity keeps love alive. Vulnerability breathes life into connection. Playfulness, laughter, and openness reignite what routine tries to bury. But all of these things require humility. They require the decision to invest, to initiate, to lean into discomfort when it is easier to stay distant. Passion cannot live where pride builds walls. The harsh truth couples often avoid is that resentment suffocates attraction. You cannot desire someone you secretly blame. You cannot feel passion for someone you emotionally punish. That is why intimacy is less about the bedroom and more about the heart. A harsh word spoken in anger can kill desire faster than time ever could. A lack of kindness can extinguish attraction more effectively than distance. To rekindle passion, you must first clear away resentment. Forgiveness, compassion, and understanding are not just emotional luxuries, they are the foundation of intimacy. Every day presents a choice to invest in your connection or to let it drift. Small acts of attention, gestures of kindness, words of affirmation, all these moments build an atmosphere where passion can breathe. Marriage becomes alive when both people understand that desire is not automatic. It is a practice. It is a daily commitment to seeing each other with fresh eyes, to refusing the lie that routine must mean dullness, to fighting for fire when the world around you tempts you to settle for ashes. Marriage is hard because it asks for this kind of deliberate effort. But when you rise to meet that challenge, you create a bond that burns brighter than any obstacle you face. Happiness is often seen as the goal of marriage, yet this belief is one of the greatest illusions. People enter relationships hoping the other person will complete them, fix their brokenness, and supply endless joy. But marriage does not create happiness. It reveals whether you already know how to build it within yourself. If you are fulfilled, marriage amplifies your joy. If you are empty, marriage magnifies your emptiness. That is why so many couples discover that even deep love cannot erase loneliness when the root of that loneliness lives inside. Expecting another person to carry the weight of your inner world is not love. It is dependency, and dependency eventually crushes what it clings to. Marriage is not designed to rescue you from yourself. It is not a shelter from personal responsibility. It is a partnership, a sacred union where two people bring their own wholeness to the table and choose to rise together. When one demands constant happiness from the other, the balance breaks. The burden becomes too heavy and resentment grows. This is the hidden truth no one wants to admit. If you cannot generate joy within yourself, no amount of love from your partner will satisfy you. Marriage was never meant to fill a void. It was meant to amplify abundance. Real happy. SS is personal work. It comes from growth, from purpose, from alignment with your values, and from living with integrity. When you nurture your own heart, you bring strength to the relationship. When you neglect yourself, you create a vacuum that drains the bond. The strongest marriages are built on two people who take responsibility for their own well-being and then share the overflow with each other. That overflow becomes the foundation of trust, peace, and connection. This is why it is dangerous to believe that happiness is owed to you by your partner. No one can live under that pressure forever. Instead, marriage calls you to step into maturity, to own your emotions, to care for your inner life so that you can stand side by side, not leaning so heavily that one buckles under the weight of two. When both people commit to building their own joy, marriage becomes a place of freedom instead of captivity. It becomes a space where love can thrive without fear, without control, without the suffocating demand to be everything for each other. The truth may sound hard, but it is liberating. You are responsible for your own happiness, and that is empowering. It means you are not at the mercy of your partner's actions to feel whole. It means you can create joy regardless of circumstances. And when you both live this truth, the relationship transforms. Instead of draining each other with demands, you inspire each other with strength. Marriage is hard because it demands this kind of responsibility, but within that responsibility lies the key to freedom, balance, and lasting love. The weight of marriage often feels unbearable, not because of what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow, but because couples forget where love actually lives. Love does not exist in the past where regrets dwell. Love does not exist in the future where fears of forever overwhelm the mind. Love exists only in the present, in the choices made right now. Too many people destroy their bond by dragging yesterday's wounds into today's conversations or by carrying the fear of tomorrow's challenges into the moment they share. They argue about what cannot be changed and worry about what has not yet arrived while ignoring the only place where intimacy can survive, the now. Forever is not built in a single vow. It is built in countless daily decisions, the ordinary actions repeated over and over that weave a lifetime together. Promises mean nothing if today you choose neglect, bitterness, or silence. What creates an unbreakable marriage is not a grand gesture, but the discipline of consistency. The way you speak today, the patience you show today, the forgiveness you offer today, these are the bricks of forever. Marriage does not collapse in a single moment. It erodes in the small choices to stop trying, to stop listening, to stop valuing what was once sacred. Many couples never admit that neglect, not disaster, is what kills love most often. The slow drip of indifference is more destructive than the storm of conflict. When attention is withdrawn, when gratitude disappears, when kindness is no longer practiced, love quietly suffocates. But when you bring your full presence into the moment, when you treat every day as a chance to reinforce the bond, you breathe life back into what routine tries to numb. Presence is not passive. It is an active commitment to seeing, hearing, and valuing the person standing before you. Marriage is hard because it requires this kind of attention every single day. It demands that you resist the temptation to coast, to assume that love will maintain itself, to believe that forever is guaranteed, forever is earned in the daily fight against distraction, against complacency, against the lure of taking each other for granted. That fight may feel exhausting, but it is sacred. It proves that your relationship matters enough to protect, to nurture, to prioritize above all else. The truth is simple but powerful. Love is no about perfection or permanence. It is about choosing again and again in the present moment. If you choose kindness today, if you choose forgiveness today, if you choose connection today, you will look back one day and realize that you built forever one choice at a time. Marriage is not easy because easy things do not transform us. It is hard because it was designed to grow us into people capable of carrying something eternal. That is the beauty hidden inside the struggle, the chance to create love that endures through every storm. Marriage is often described as a promise for a lifetime, but in reality, it is a promise for each day. The weight of forever can feel overwhelming, yet the truth is that forever is only a collection of todays, lived with intention, effort, and care. When you forget this, you begin to take your partner for granted, assuming there will always be another chance to show love, another chance to be kind, another chance to repair what is breaking. But time does not pause, and every neglected moment becomes a lost opportunity to strengthen the bond. The greatest mistake couples make is believing that the future will save them from the choices they refuse to make now. Love is not measured by what you hope to do one day, but by what you choose to do today. A gentle word, a patient response, a simple act of appreciation. These are not small gestures. They are the building blocks of trust and connection. Each day offers the chance to either repair or to damage, to nurture or to neglect. The danger lies not in grand betrayals alone, but in the subtle erosion that comes when you stop giving attention to what matters most. Relationships collapse not only in chaos, but in silence. When partners slowly stop showing up with presence and care. What makes marriage so hard is that it requires vigilance. You cannot love deeply and live carelessly at the same time. To keep a bond alive, you must refuse the comfort of complacency. You must be intentional, Then in the ordinary, love is not proven by grand declarations, but by the discipline of daily devotion. The effort you put in today becomes the memory your partner carries tomorrow. And when both people live with that awareness, marriage stops being a burden and becomes a sacred practice, a rhythm of giving and receiving that strengthens with time. There will always be temptations to withdraw, to hold back affection, to delay forgiveness. Pride whispers that you should wait for them to change first, but pride is poison to connection. Every day you withhold kindness is a day you weaken the bond. Every day you choose bitterness is a day you allow distance to grow. The secret to lasting love is humility, the willingness to step forward even when it feels unfair, the courage to love even when it costs you comfort. That kind of love is not easy, but it is the only kind that lasts. Marriage was never meant to be effortless. It was meant to refine you, to stretch you, to call out the best version of yourself. The very hardness of it is what makes it holy. If you can commit to showing up fully each day, to choosing love in the present instead of waiting for a perfect future, you will discover that the struggle itself is shaping something extraordinary. An unbreakable bond built moment by moment, day by day, choice by choice,